Hey, this is Shane,
And this is Keith.
and we are Seekers of the.
Unknown.
All right,
Yep.
and we're at episode 2.
Episode 2.
Uh,
Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you for sticking around.
Yeah, and thanks for all the good feedback from the first episode. I got a lot of good feedback from my friends. So thank you.
All right, so I guess we'll jump right into the topic of today's episode.
This episode is called 50 Shades of Grays. So as you can tell, it's going to be about, our favorite aliens, little grays.
Most common.
Yeah.
Everybody has seen one. Well, not seen one in person, maybe, hopefully, but everybody knows what we're talking about. They're most iconic.
Yeah, like the stereotypical, like when you think alien, you think like the little gray aliens with the almond-shaped eyes and
Fat
the
heads.
ginormous head, yeah, Jimmy Neutron heads. But yeah, we're gonna deep dive into all things grays. So strap on, get ready, put on your seatbelts. We're going. Yeah, all right, grays. You want to start it off?
Yeah, sure. So when I think of aliens, I feel like they're the most common. Um, throughout childhood, everything, toys, or little green men, gray. To me, they're the same. They're
Yeah, like the little slender gray. Remember that show, Kablam?
yeah,
Remember Prometheus and Bob? That was
yes,
part of Kablam, right?
yup.
Yeah. And he was a gray, but he was kind of tall, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
Okay.
get the real short ones. You get the like smarter ones. They're supposed to be taller and
Yeah, we'll
lankier.
definitely get into that because there's types of grays, as well. But the most common thing about the grays is like if you look at any abduction story, at least from my experiences, probably from yours too.
Oh
Everybody, like I read a lot of abduction experiences or watch videos or stuff like that. They always describe grays. They're like, yeah, these short little gray guys with the big eyes, and it's just the most common one.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, even you hear like the abduction stories, like when they surround your bed or whatever, it's always little men with big heads and
Yeah,
the eyes that like they like absorb you, like they control you through their
yeah.
eyes.
So I'm convinced that they have a really good grasp on like telepathy or emotions, but it's always, yeah, they never talk. It's always like, oh, they, I felt at ease or I felt scared and they told me to do this and made me do this, and it was like a voice in my head telling me to do it. So it's like telepathy.
Even like when they describe like, oh, I couldn't move my body, but I was moving. It was like they
It's like a
were, yeah,
inducing like
yeah.
paralysis, like through the mind. So I'm convinced they definitely communicate and operate through, telepathic means.
So I remember reading something where they were talking about that and how they communicate with you through your mind and stuff. And I heard it was because we wouldn't be able to comprehend communicating with them. And usually we don't really communicate. It's like you're in a trance and they're just controlling you. But I mean, seeing an alien anyways, I'm sure you'd be like, what? Like to be able to communicate with them, I could understand. But that's just
They're probably like so advanced, and like obviously like we'd be in a state of like you said, like complete shock, like not be able to comprehend what's going on. So they're probably using their mental prowess to like induce whatever they're doing to you, like paralyzing you or making you feel at ease. Well, honestly, not that much. So I feel like the Greys are always like, it's always like malevolence, like it's always like bad intentions, or at least like from the perspective of like the people being like talking about it. they always just like it's always like a sense of like malice or danger. You know what I mean? It's never like, oh, like they're coming to like make friends with you and
Right.
hold your hand and skip into the sunset.
To me, they're like the worker aliens. They're like, if you see them, they're there for a reason. They're not just like you said. They're hey, and that's why I feel like they're there to, they're viewing something or they're ready to take somebody or something, and they're just there to do a job.
Yeah, so they're like the workers. So the short ones with the big heads, the small grays are said to like work for like what we call like the tall whites,
Yeah, but
or
it's
we don't really know. I
even
mean, there's
it's
been different stories.
even I mean to the point where there's even just a taller gray that they can just tell is like the more knowledgeable one.
Yeah, they're the ones behind the scenes, like telling them, what to do. They're the boss grays,
The-
and the worker grays, the working class grays, uh, blue collar grays, um, out here,
That's one of the shades.
yeah, blue collar grays, out here, taking people out of their beds, paralyzing them, um, you know, zapping them up to their ship and performing experiments. So that's another thing. It's always like, oh yeah, they stuck this in me and I was in pain, but like I couldn't move or scream or anything. It's honestly terrifying.
Oh, I could. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like pain, like undescribable. Like it would kill you
Yeah.
if you weren't in that situation.
And in like movies and pop culture, you always see like certain like like scenes with like alien movies where they're getting experimented on or probed, and it's like a needle going into their eye or like their belly button. Um, but like some of the things I say this vaguely because it's like I can't really pinpoint all these interviews and stuff that I've seen and read, but it's common. Like you can go out there and do that. Like watch videos or like there's popular people who've got there's popular abduction stories, I should say, and they're always like um oh, they took like reproductive
Yep.
organs or like kind of like set my like this is not a PG thing, right? We can
No.
okay. Like they extracted like semen from me or took my eggs and stuff like that.
Or
So
like for female abductions, like they're implanting them
yeah,
with a
yeah,
hybrid baby.
yeah. So it's like they're like kind of like surgeons, like workers taking like sexual parts of humans for whatever reason. Maybe they want to understand human anatomy, for whatever reason, but it's always like a scary experience. And then they like wipe your mind after, but then the people like later on in life will like remember certain things, or they'll do like hypnotherapy and start describing it and start to like freak out and cry and stuff like that because it's so traumatizing.
But what's weird about it is like usually those people, they've seen grays multiple times throughout their life. Usually like when they're little babies, and there's always one that they remember as like almost like family. Or some people believe that the grays that they have seen multiple times like our family. Like some people say that they feel comfortable around them even though they're scared shitless and they can't move and they're being, you know, moved against their will. They still sometimes feel a sense of comfort with certain ones.
I can see this two ways. I can see this as like like humans like when they're like trying to study a species, they'll like tag it
Yep.
like a rare lion or something. They'll tag it and kind of like follow it throughout its life. I can see them like doing that to people. Like, oh, we're gonna pick this human and we're just gonna like monitor them and like implant this and see like how it reacts or I don't know whatever their logic would be, or you know like, oh yeah, this is my this is my friend, or it could be like a pet, like, oh, this is like my pet cat, like, yeah, like I mean, your pet's gonna feel comfortable around you, obviously, and it's like, all right, take the pet to the vet, like, and the pet's just like, oh, like it's okay, I'm here with you, kind of thing. So either way, I always say I want to meet aliens, and I do. Like, I think it would be sick, but like, if I can avoid a gray, that's like the last on the list I would kind of want to encounter.
I feel like so I was actually it's funny you brought that up because I was thinking earlier, like if you're gonna see, say you stumble across like a UFO crash, the chances are you're gonna have in your mind that it's gonna be a gray, not like a alien hybrid or like um like lizard people or something.
Yeah,
It's
reptilian
yeah,
or
reptilian or
Palladian. We'll get into those later. There's all kinds of fun alien species.
it isn't going to be predator coming out of
Yeah,
the crash. It's going to be like
ET.
3 to 5 ETs, and I feel like I
Maybe.
mean, they're not from what we have been talking about, but I feel like they're kind of dumb. They're kind of
Um,
just like
you think so? Yeah. I mean,
that's like when I think of like a UFO crash and stuff. That's what I feel like I would see is like three of them. Like what the hell just happened?
see, I picture something a little bit more scary. Like, I feel like I'm gonna walk up to it. I'm gonna be like, I'm obviously gonna be scared because like I don't know, I'm a coward, so I'm scared of scary things, and I feel like as I go, especially knowing what I know about like aliens and stuff, like I feel like I'm just gonna be overcome with fear, and but my curiosity, my infatuations, I'm just gonna go closer, but I'm just gonna be overcome with fear, and then if they are there, I'm probably gonna like put all these scenarios in my head, like, oh no, they're gonna like I don't know, control me or like talk to me in my mind. But then, I might just be like trying to communicate back through the mind, like, you know, are you there? Like my internal monologue or whatever. Are you there? Like, give me a sign. Like, talk to me. I promise I won't be scared. Try to like reason with.
That I've thought that too. Like
I'm woke. I'm not like just some random guy. Like,
I'm outside, like come, like I'm safe. Come talk to me. But yeah, same thing. You'd be like,
I won't tell anybody.
oh, but um,
Have you heard the theory of like them being like futuristic humans?
yeah, like time traveling back.
Yeah,
Yes,
like they're so evolved that they don't need like humans that like went into space or whatever for so long, and they like obviously like evolution, like certain things will change in your body over like hundreds of thousands, millions of years if you don't like need certain conditions. Like
yeah,
if you're in
because
space, you're not going to need like I don't know like hair because like you don't need to keep warm because you're just like in a space vehicle that just provides everything for you.
maybe the big eyes are like so they can like see super far distances, but they don't have ears.
Yeah,
They have like
because they can speak telepathically. You don't need
they have
ears or mouth.
small mouths,
Yeah.
like a slit, and sometimes nostrils, maybe.
Yeah. If you like, I don't know, maybe in the future you don't really need to eat. You can just take a little pill that just has all the nourishment or whatever you need. I don't know. I'm just kind of shooting things out there, but yeah, I remember reading a theory that they're futuristic humans and like they're so far evolved or something they forgot like how to reproduce or something, so they like come back in time and like get different organs from people so they can like make their like little baby hybrid things.
That's pretty similar to what I've heard as far as yeah, them traveling back and like because of something happens clearly if they're looking like that, but they're coming back to try to yeah repopulate us and
I don't
that's
want
where hybrids come in and everything else.
I don't want to look like that. So like, yeah, I don't
Because
know.
you hear the stories of the abductions and some people see the babies in the jars and stuff like that, but it's always a hybrid baby. It's never a gray. So
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I could be a hybrid for all you know.
that's what I think about, having twin boys. I'm like, come on, come on. I look for diamond eyes and stuff like that. But
Yeah, see if they blink like they blink sideways instead of normally, like from like Men in Black.
um, you know, um,
Otherwise, I think that they're said to come from the Zeta Reticulum, Zeta Reticula constellation. I forget exactly where that is in the sky, but I know grays are often, referred to as Zeta Reticulans as well. So all different alien species are like referred to by like whatever constellation they come from.
Yep.
So
And I believe that came from EVE-1.
okay.
Supposedly, we
Oh,
captured
okay.
that from, I believe what I heard,
Was
that's
Roswell, right?
one of them from Roswell.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And that's where we learned where they came from. And we, tried to keep them alive. And it
Yeah.
almost like interrogated them.
Yeah. I remember this. Did he end up like speaking English, or did he just like use his mind talk to tell people things? I'm trying to remember that part.
I know he was in the supposed leaked video that you can find anywhere of it. He makes noises, but I don't remember exactly how they did it. But I know like there was EVE-1 and then there was EVE-2 that supposedly came to like work with Area 51, and then something happened in EVE-2, ended up like killing some guards or something, and then they killed it. But
Oh yeah,
those are like the two documented ones that supposedly we really saw and really had.
which is really wild because a lot of people don't really talk about that, like common knowledge. I feel like, I mean, if you're watching or listening to this podcast, you've probably heard of it, but I don't know, ask your
So,
coworkers or
you know,
something, they probably think you're crazy.
so
But
Roswell, was it a UFO or was it a weather balloon? I don't know.
I refuse. Think a weather balloon. Come on. Back then, it's easier to cover things up like that. Like today, that wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh, it was a satellite or a Russian drone or something." I don't know.
So when our government released all that, you know, information, quote information, I thought it was ridiculous. But and they put out the videos of what they said were crafts and then denied. Um, it ended up where after all that released, like 51% of the US believed that aliens had come here after that. Like that's such a large
I
amount.
would have been in that percent for sure.
So like you said, impossible to hide nowadays. There's so many cameras and so many people out there and multiple stories of multiple people seeing the same thing. You can't hide that forever.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's only a matter of time before I mean, there's like disclosure stuff out right now that just kind of gets released, and like people like us were like, be like, "Oh, that's sick," and it just kind of just gets swept under the rug. Everybody forgets about it. But there are like lots of documents about stuff um, that the government, Pentagon released, and all that. Honestly, I'm gonna confess I haven't really gone through a lot of it like the way that I should. Maybe this podcast will like inspire me to do more stuff like that. But it's definitely worth like looking into.
Like the most recent stuff that was released last year, like before the government released it, and like you had Navy, you had the Navy and the Air Force and everybody talking about seeing these things and saying, yeah, they were UFOs or unidentified aerial phenomenon now.
Oh yeah,
And then the government releases everything saying like all their equipment was wrong. It really wasn't going that fast, and like tried to deny everything
yeah.
after all these big people, said they saw what they saw. But
It comes down to like they don't want people to know because people are afraid of what they don't understand. And honestly, if they were just like, "Yo, aliens are real," UFOs are real. Like right now on the news, like breaking news, aliens are real, and they showed like one. People, honestly, I feel like a lot of people would be like, "Oh, it's a hoax," but a lot of people would be like freaking out. Like
oh,
it would cause so much like chaos, even in like a world where like I don't know, it's almost like it's been in media and movies so much that it's almost just like, oh, like
desensitized.
yeah, that's the word. It's like desensitized. Like maybe if we get to a point where like enough people are like desensitized, they'll feel comfortable enough to let us know the truth.
When that happens, I think it's going to be all grays. I don't think we're going to see all these different races. I feel like if we're going to make contact with anything and be here, it'll be grays.
Yeah. So, yeah, because like the government will be involved, and we talked about Grays. We should talk about like the whole thing about the Grays meeting with the president, like back
Yeah.
in, I don't
Yep.
know.
Eisenhower.
Yeah, I don't know
Yep.
what year or whatever. But the saying is, you know, they met with the Grays and they made like a kind of an agreement. It was like, yeah, we'll share some of our technology with you in exchange. Like, we're gonna start abducting people. Just like, let us do that. Even though you would ask, like, well, why can't they just do that anyway? And they're so advanced. But obviously, they don't like. Earth is like a very interesting place for a lot of like alien races. If you go down this rabbit hole, you'll come to realize. So for whatever reason, or this could be many reasons, um, people or aliens are very interested at Earth and humans and our growth and like just everything. So I don't know, maybe they don't want to cause chaos or anything, but they're just like, yeah, we'll give you a little bit of technology and we'll just abduct somebody and like Narnia, New Hampshire, just it'll be fine.
Well, so think about it. Like automobiles, for instance. Like within the past 150 years, we'll say maybe 175. That's when like all that stuff really started taking off. Going from steam to gas, and like for thousands of years we had horses and stuff like that, and then within that short period we just exploded
Hmm.
into technology
Hmm.
and vehicles and even flight. Think about like
Aerodynamics and stuff.
airplanes and like all this stuff. I think the first um like manned flight on with an actual motor wasn't until like the early 1900s. So like you said, that's weird. Like after that, all of a sudden there was all these sighting reportings and stuff like that. Like there was a bunch like late 1800s, and then it was calm for a little while, and then around the 1940s, I believe that when the aliens met with Eisenhower, that was in the 1940s. Don't
Hmm.
quote me, I'm pretty sure, but like that's when sightings started happening again. But that was also during World War II, and there's reports that they were there when we tested the atomic bombs, and the Germans said they saw them in Nazi Germany and working with them for technology and you know multiple countries. Makes sense.
Apparently, so yeah, you're right about especially about the like the bombs and stuff like that. Like, cause they're probably like, oh wow, humans are really gonna like off themselves pretty soon, or whatever. Like we're messing with a very powerful energy source that's like could end the whole planet like pretty easily. So they're probably like, oh no, like what are they doing? Or at least like interested, like kind of like how we are. Like if there's like an explosion or something down the street, we're gonna be like, oh, what's going on? Like everybody goes outside and goes to check it out. They were probably like the same thing for whatever reason. I just looked it up. I guess I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I guess he met up with them like 3 times, Eisenhower. But they said the 50s, 54. Wait, where'd I go? Yeah, but I mean, that's just a quick Google search. Who knows? Yeah, like the 1954 Greada Treaty between the U.S. and alien Greys.
I know there was talks about them being there when we were testing the atomic bombs and everything, but it seems like every time anybody tests something like that, there's a sighting, something almost like they're watching over, maybe not to let us destroy the world, or
Yeah,
make sure that doesn't happen.
yeah, that's probably it. Like we've invested so much on this planet, and we don't want you guys to destroy yourselves because you guys are so cool. Interesting. Are we though? Yeah. I don't know if they can catch that, but it's
I
funny.
don't know.
We're watching. Every time we do the podcast, we have like something regarding aliens or whatever going on in the background on TV. So
And it happens to be Bob Lazar on the Joe Rogan podcast. Just randomly popped on.
talking about Area 51, which is funny.
And how he back engineered the UFOs that they had there.
Yeah. Reverse engineering is a thing.
Crazy as well.
So, that's pretty much. I had to do a little like refresher on the gray information. They are the most common ones, so it's like a lot of this like I just like kind of knew just like over the time or over the years of like looking into this stuff. But
yeah, I don't claim to be like super knowledgeable in any of this.
yeah, we're definitely not professionals. So if you're looking for like some hard cold facts, don't know what to tell you. There's probably no one to look to for that because there's
I'm
no
just into
crazy.
it,
Yeah,
and some of it's opinion, some of it's my take on everything.
yeah. Think of this. You can say, oh yeah, all of this technology advancement is just like humans. You know, we're just so smart. You know, somebody like just had an idea and it evolved. Yeah, that's cool. But like aliens, that's cooler. You know, that's way cooler. It's more interesting.
Here's a fun fact I actually found. The first ever documented sighting
Mm-hmm.
was by our governor, John Winthrop,
Oh wow.
in 1638.
Wow.
Yep, when they were in the Mass, like during the Mass Bay colony, like that long ago. Lights in the sky, voices, pretty crazy.
This is first UFO sighting or
Yeah.
alien? Okay, UFO
Yeah,
sighting.
but they heard voices coming, so there had to have been something operating what they were seeing.
Oh wow.
So pretty cool. Happened in Massachusetts, holding it down.
Yeah. Oh, real quick too. We forgot to touch this. There's also theories that like grays are like interdimensional too.
Yeah,
You know, not from
Yep.
like I mean, you can still be from far away. You know, a different galaxy or solar system and still be interdimensional. I would like to get into like the concept of different dimensions and stuff like that later on.
even
But
like I've heard where some people are able to like they feel like they're a human on Earth, but they're actually a gray in space, and they feel like they can
they're interconnected,
yeah
like
they
kind of like
can through consciousness and everything they can actually form into their gray self.
oh wow.
But I'll have to give you that book to read.
Yeah, that sounds cool. That's something new for
Abduction.
me, so that would be cool.
It's
to
a book
get
called
into.
Abduction by John Mack. He was a psychologist that wanted to study people who were abducted to kind of call them on their BS, but the more he studied them, he actually realized these people are telling the truth. So it's pretty crazy, but I'll have to pass it on so you can read it. It's wild.
Cool. So that pretty much wraps up this episode, right?
Yeah. Yep.
If you guys want to spread the word and tell all your friends about us, that would be greatly appreciated. And thanks for listening.
Hope you guys liked it. We're still figuring things out, but I enjoyed it. This was a fun episode for me.
Yeah.
Actually,
Hopefully
Good
you don't
topic.
have any nightmares tonight. I probably will, but it is what it is.
if you feel weird at night, don't open your eyes. They might be around you.